Chapter 2. Night fell over Derdriu slowly and peacefully, like the first dusting of snow in the Fargus countryside. The Regan estate, however, was anything but slow and peaceful, even as the clocks crawled towards midnight. After the battle against the Imperial invaders was won, Claude insisted on hosting a victory celebration in honor of his friends, the saviors of the city. Lavish and extravagant, it was a well-deserved celebration and a moment of respite. The normal feast had concluded hours ago, and the guests had slipped into a more casual party atmosphere. Court musicians took up a place in the corner of the great hall and filled the estate with music, a promise of healing and happier times to come. As the dim of the party grew, revelers dancing and drinking with no signs of stopping, Ashe slipped away from the lively crowd, taking solace on the balcony overlooking the expanse of the city. The skyline glowed with a celebration of its own, the citizens giving thanks to Seros and the army who came to their aid. Even the night sky, the crescent moon and the stars, shined brightly in elation. Ashe leaned against the banister, the metal chilled by the night air, a sharp and cooling presence against his forearms. A slight breeze carried with it the salt and sea, and the subtle sense of change, a metaphorical, not necessarily literal, change of the tides. He closed his eyes and listened to the waves jostling boats and splashing on the docks. It's relaxing and calming, so much so that Ashe could almost forget there's a war going on beyond the borders of the Alliance. "Don't tell me you're tapping out for the night." Ashe startled, whirling round to see who had snuck up on him. "Claude," he breathed, relaxing against the banister. "You startled me." "Sorry," the other archer laughed, showing that he was anything but. "It's not every day someone gets the drop on you like that. You're not getting complacent, are you?" Ashe shook his head. "Never," he smiled. "What about you? Tired of your own party?" "I never tire of feasts and celebrations, but I did need a break. Mind if I join you?" "Not at all." Claude joined him at the banister, and together they looked out over the city in a comfortable, amicable silence. "I hadn't gotten to thank you yet," Claude stated after a few moments. Ashe glanced at him, confused. "Thank me? For what?" Claude met his eyes, and hesitated before finally speaking. "You're not dying here." Claude's gaze burned into Ashe. As he repeated the promise, Ashe thought he hadn't been in any state to hear, let alone remember. His cheeks warmed as he pushed away from the banister, trying to shift away. Claude quickly, yet gently, cupped Ashe's face, and turned Ashe back towards him. The moment took a more intimate air. Ashe's heart beat faster, recognizing this was no longer just two friends taking a break from a party. This was something more. "And honestly, I probably should have. But I didn't, thanks to you," Claude continued, undeterred. "Marianne said I would have died if you hadn't been there to start the healing process, though." He chuckled. "I will have this gnarly scar." He traced his left hand across his chest, along the spot that Ashe knew had been hit by reason magic at the Battle of Gronder Field. Mirroring the other man, Ashe brought his own hand up to Claude's chest, feeling along the raised bump of scar tissue peeking out from under his loose tunic. Ashe felt Claude's breath hitch, then settle into a steady rise and fall, matching his strong heartbeat. "Sorry, I never was much of a healer," Ashe conceded. He clenched his fist over Claude's chest. "But I couldn't just stand by and watch you die." "Why not?" Claude chuckled softly with slight sarcasm. "It's a war. I was your enemy." Claude shook his head. "You were never our enemy. If Dimitri had been in the right mind, all that additional bloodshed could have been avoided. He's improving. Some days are better than others, but we've been helping the best we can, especially the professor." "That's good to hear. He'll need strong allies by his side, especially once he's crowned. I feel better about leaving the Alliance in his care." "You're leaving the Alliance to Dimitri?" Ashe tilted his head, brow furrowed and questioning. "We'll be dissolving the Alliance. The Round Table has already agreed. Lawrence will oversee the transfer of power to Dimitri and the Holy Kingdom of Fargus in the coming days." He gave Ashe a half-smile. "His kingliness and Teach will tell everyone in the morning. I'll be long gone before then." Ashe's heart dropped. "You can't leave. I just got you back. What do you—" Claude raised an eyebrow, smirking. Ashe's brain scrambled as he processed what he just said. "Wait, that came out wrong. I just mean that you'd be a great asset to our forces." Claude chuckled. "I appreciate that, friend, but my talents will be better spent elsewhere for the time being. There's something I have to do, a dream I need to see realized." His face softened, his teasing giving way to a more serious visage. "It's not the end for us. If you don't want it to be." What do you mean?" Ashe couldn't help the hope that bled into his voice. "I mean," Claude pushed his hair from his face and let out a huff, "when you win this war, you can find me. And we can try. This. Us." Ashe blushed and turned away from Claude again. You don't have to humor me. You don't owe me anything. I would have tried to save your life regardless, you know." "Just like a true knight." He paused. "This isn't me trying to repay a debt, Ashe. It's me trying to take a shot with the kind and chivalrous knight-to-be that I should have taken 5 years ago." Ashe whipped around, certain he'd misheard. There was no way the charismatic leader of the Golden Deer House had noticed him in a way that could be interpreted as anything other than cordiality among classmates. Yet, staring into those emerald eyes of the, now former, leader of the Leicester Alliance, "You're serious?" Claude nodded. "I'm slow to trust. I like to keep my cards close to my chest and an ace up my sleeve." He stretched his arms over his head, shifting his weight back and forth. If Ashe didn't know any better, he'd say Claude was nervous. "But I think it would be nice to have some close allies of my own." Ashe took Claude's hands and gave them a gentle squeeze. "I'd be honored to be an ally of yours." They shared soft smiles and stared out over the city, speaking of a future of hope without saying a word.